Welcome back to Takeout. Great to have you with us. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has reemerged in Norway after more than 11 months in hiding in her country. Machado, who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, spoke to our Margaret Brennan today in a CBS News exclusive. Here is some of that conversation.
So President Trump said that land strikes to stop drug trafficking specifically will start soon. He has been saying that for weeks. Do you know what he is talking about? And has he promised you anything?
No, I don't know. And well, if I knew, I wouldn't say it, of course, but it's not the case. We are not involved and we will not get involved into another nation's policy for their own national security.
But would you welcome U.S. military action?
I will welcome more and more pressure so that Maduro understands that he has to go, that his time is over. And I will insist something that I've said several times before. This is not conventional regime change. This cannot be compared to other cases like countries in the Middle East. We had an election. Mm-hmm. Regime change was already mandated by over 70% of the population. And what we need is support to enforce that decision.
How do you square military action with receiving a peace prize? Are we at the point it's necessary?
What we're fighting for is precisely freedom in order to have democracy, and democracy in order to have peace. And in order to maintain freedom and to achieve freedom, you do need strength. The contrary would be the peace of the dead, in which you have a country under absolute, oppression and simply given in. And that's not the case. It's absolutely absurd that you see a regime, a criminal regime like Maduro, that gets support from Russia or from Iran, and then as a Venezuelan people not to ask support from democratic countries and democratic leaders. That's absolute absurd. We do not have arms. We have our will. We have the power of organization and the power of love, which at the end, I have to say that peace is ultimately an act of love.
CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent, the moderator of Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan, is here with me now, and I'm very happy that's true. Margaret, there was something that she said very early on that I think is important to note. She was making the argument this is not conventional regime change. She is not unaware of American politics, the politics within the MAGA movement. That seemed to me to be a very intentional declaration on her part.
It absolutely is. And Maria Corina Machado knows that she is speaking to Americans. This is her first broadcast interview with an American network since she won that Peace Prize and went through that perilous journey across sea and land and air covertly to get there, to make this statement in Norway. She is definitely speaking to the politics of the moment. And this is really where it is tricky, because she is very much an inspirational figure to her followers. You saw those beads around her neck. That was a rosary. She said she'd received about 30 of them in past days from supporters on the streets who came and see her as this inspirational figure. Can she sell what she laid out there, that this is virtuous, that military force, if used to support her movement, would be worth it for the American people, or military force, as she references there, that the United States says is in their own national interest? And this is where we don't quite see clear messaging yet from the Trump administration, even if they're completely sold on that premise. You see building pressure, though, on the Maduro regime. You hear messaging from the Trump administration that he is synonymous with the drug cartels and even a leader of one of them, something that other governments don't agree with. But she is trying to make the argument here that this is not Afghanistan. This is not Libya. This is not the Middle East. America, don't be afraid.
Many Americans are being introduced to her for the first time and may wonder, okay, she was there in hiding, then she went to Norway. Where is she now? Is she coming back? How would this person do what you just suggested she needs to do, amplify her voice and become more visible and not be so afraid?
Right. And even, does she need to go back? She says she does, and she intends to, though she did share with us she has some health issues and family issues she has to take care of. So it's not imminent that she is returning. But the elected president is in exile. He is in Spain. She says she would be the vice president in that future administration. But she is the one who is going back and saying, I'm bringing this to the Venezuelan people, and argues it's important for her and the movement to remain there. Now, she has been in hiding in part because of this regime crackdown. She told us in the interview that that has gotten even more severe, the crackdown on any kind of criticism or civil disobedience. Maduro has been in power for 13 years, Hugo Chavez before that. They have really cracked down on civil society. One of the very first things they did was revoke the TV licenses of broadcasters to stop journalists from reporting the truth. She talked about human rights abuses. The UN has documented these. So there is documentation from the international community saying what the Maduro regime is doing. She says it's important for her to be there to inspire. But it's definitely a story worth watching because it's intertwined with our own politics of the moment, the legal restrictions around what we can and cannot do. How far is the Trump administration willing to go? She had that message to President Trump himself. Remember, she sort of co-dedicated this peace award to him. So America's future in this potential conflict is something to watch.
And that was a great interview and a great voice to have on Face the Nation. Margaret Brennan, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can watch Margaret's full conversation with María Corina Machado and much more this Sunday on CBS at 10:30 a.m. Eastern and right here on CBS News 24/7 at 2 p.m. Eastern.